Oh man. I know a lot of people, based off of what I've seen online, don't with these, but these are almost perfect. Hey, what's good guys? My name's Chris. Welcome back to the official WearTesters.com YouTube channel. Today we got a detailed look and breakdown on these bad boys right here. This is the Air Jordan 13 in what's simply being dubbed the blue-gray colorway. Kind of weird. Speaking of weird, the item description for the shoe, also weird. You'd think with a colorway like this that they'd for sure have something to tie it to, some sort of story or aspect or something like that, but they don't, so it's kind of weird. But before we get started, make sure that you stay tuned for today's question of the day. It's always the most fun part of the video, at least it can be. The last one, if you were in yesterday's video, was a little controversial. Yeah, it was cool. But anyways, I do have the product description right here from Sneakers, so I'm gonna toss this over to Mrs. Wing over there, and she can go and break it down.
Throw it back with the AJ13, the shoe originally worn by MJ during his 6th championship season. A new colorway refreshes the legend with premium white tumbled leather and blue-gray synthetic suede. Iconic details abound, like the unmistakable quilted overlay, panther paw-inspired outsole, and holographic eye. Finishing it off, hits of yellow ochre make the classic branding pop.
So true, so true. Okay, so like I was saying, there's no real rhyme or reason for this colorway. I thought that it might be a PE. I was looking at them and being like, you know what? Maybe I've seen these before. Never seen them before a day in my life, so I could not find anything on them. I initially thought maybe, and I don't know why, but maybe it was like a tribute or a nod to Carmelo Anthony from his Denver Nugget days because, you know, this color with that yellow kind of says that, but nothing. So I'm gonna make up my own story. There was one time in history where a guy, most notably known as Michael Jordan, was wearing a jumpsuit of the same exact color. And yes, he was wearing the Air Jordan 14s in this picture. Ignore that, okay? And then next to him, he was being talked to by this journalist guy. I assume that he's a journalist, but he's wearing this weird yellow shirt. There you go, story time.
It's beautiful.
Anyways, as far as the Air Jordan 13 is concerned, for me, it's just one of my all-time faves. Not only is it just a gorgeous looking shoe, but it's one of the best performance shoes that the brand has ever put out in all of its flagship history, at least in my opinion. The outsole right here is Panther Paw inspired. Just in case you guys didn't know, MJ's nickname was the Black Cat. When Tinker designed the shoe, he designed it after a black cat, not knowing a thing about that nickname. And that's when like MJ was like, bro, how do you know this? And he was like, I would know what? And that's how the story went and all that stuff. So it's pretty cool. Also, fun fact, they actually released Tinker Hatfield's sketch of the original design of the Air Jordan 13. They do call it the Black Cat. We have a video on them in case you wanted to know about it. It's like a really weird thing in history. This is an old video, but just in case you're new here, I just think that it's fun to be like, oh, what? Like that's what the Jordan 13 could have and maybe would have looked like had it not morphed into this. And then the shank plate right here, or actually hold on. This is an original pair of Jordan 13s. These are pretty. But yeah, so the outsole right here, this is what it is. Very thin. I know that it looks clunky, and it is clunky because there's rubber wrapping all the way into the back, so it doesn't allow the midsole to like compress a lot during the first few wears. So you got to break this shoe in. It's only a few millimeters thick, so again, it's like real loose and rubbery. This is a lot of weight reduced. This is why they're so thin and stuff like that nowadays. But underneath that is this right here. So this is the Phylon midsole, and then that is the carbon plate. So unlike the Air Jordan 12, which was one of these, this one was reduced even more. If you guys remember the Air Jordan 11, that one extended all the way through the toe. So that was a carbon fiber spring plate. This one was more of a spring / torsion plate. And then this one is primarily a torsion plate. That little guy right there could be considered a spring component, but it doesn't really go into the main flex zone of the shoe. It's more for that pivoting. So I've explained that before. Shoes like the Air Jordan 38 are really catered around that move. And then this shoe right here, I felt like was catered around that move. A slower Jordan, really worked in the low post instead of flying high. So they gave them a lot of stability in the shoe and the platform and everything like that. So I think that this is, again, just one of the greatest all-around shoes that they've ever done. On top of that, you can see how thin this midsole is. So you are right there on the floor. Again, it feels a little clunky when you first start to wear them. You got to break it in, but I promise you, they feel awesome after that. You just got to give them a little bit of love. So yeah, this is the midsole. I think it's awesome. It's wrapped in synthetic suede. It always has been, and it's because you cannot bond this stuff to the upper. Like trying to re-glue something like this is already a pain in the ass. gas, but doing it to leather is way easier. And then doing it to something that's synthetic, like a TPU or fuse panel, is even better because that stuff like bonds really well. But yeah, this is the setup. And then inside of that is a heel and 4-foot zoom air system. This one just happens to be missing the zoom air, but if it were in there, it would look like that, but bigger. Well, no, the originals are this size. The new ones look like this. They're a little bit smaller, thinner, and closer to the ground. Now, as far as the upper is concerned on these guys, like the item description says, it's a quilted upper. It's actually EVA backed back here. So that's one thing where I will not rip those apart just because I don't want to. They're so pretty and the materials are so nice, I don't want to do it. But if you were to cut this in half, there's actually foam in between this panel of leather and the interior of the shoe. This is something that Aaron Cooper actually taught me, which I was really appreciative of. But shoes like this, the Pippin 2s, and so on and so forth, the Jordan 14 I believe has them too, especially the ribbed versions, the ones with the stitching on the side, where the quilted aspect comes in the form of EVA lining inside of this. So like a really thin pad of foam. So that's how you get that puffy look and everything like that. I thought it was really cool. Some people consider the dimples that are on here to be like golf holes or something like that, which wasn't the case, even though I could see where they're coming from. But what it was supposed to resemble was the whiskers of the black cat. So that's what it was originally intended for. And then the back area just features the coolest thing of all time, a hologram on a sneaker. Like if you're a comic book nerd like myself, holo cards and holo covers were always really cool, and to see that on a sneaker, I cannot explain what little Chris thought back then. It was just like I was like drawn to that thing, you know what I mean? Remember like Pogs and stuff? It's kind of what this reminds me of, like a hollow Pog. It's so sick. The only aspect of the shoe that sucks ass is the tongue, and they keep doing this. They finally put good leather on the toes, man. Like this leather is so good. That's what makes me want to play in them, is that when you put them on, they just feel plush. They feel the way that those used to, minus this tongue. This tongue right here is made out of some cheap ass vinyl material that, did you hear that? Okay, so that, whatever they're rubbing on in there, there's a panel of vinyl where the internal lacing system is. So they're probably just rubbing on that. I don't know if you can stop that. Maybe with some oil, but even then, like...
You shouldn't have to oil your shoes to wear them.
You definitely shouldn't have to oil your shoes, and be careful what kind of, I'm not talking about motor oil, I'm talking about like a baby oil or something. You know what I mean?
What
Something
about
that won't
a beard
stain
oil?
it. I mean, if you got it, then I guess, but like, whatever. I wouldn't waste that stuff on some sneakers. But what the originals actually featured though, was actual genuine leather on the tongue. This is so much more nice than this. You could just feel it. You could probably see it. And if you didn't see it just from the top coat and everything, you can look at the cut line in there. It's just a nicer material, a nicer polyurethane that they use on there. It's just softer. Do they have the vinyl inside though? No, that's actually a microfiber. If they would change the interior panel right here where the lace loops are back to what they used to be, then that would probably get rid of the farting sound and I would stop complaining outside of the material just being cheap. So do that please, because then I'd wear them more. If you were interested in grabbing a pair of these, you could do one of two things for the sizing. You can go true to size, or if you were willing to play in them, I would recommend going down half a size for a nice, secure, snug one-to-one fit. I know that they may be a little bit tight at first, just break them in. It's all this leather and everything. It's gonna feel great on foot. If you were interested in grabbing a pair of these, they will be available at Phenom here in Sacramento. They're over in the downtown location. They actually moved not too long ago, so if you know where the Golden One Center is, go there. They are, where are they? What are they across from? Macy's? Is that what it was? I think Macy's is what I see.
And Wetzel's Pretzels.
Well, the Wetzel's Pretzels is new. But yes, so Macy's is right across the hall. Go check out the shop. They got tons of cool stuff. They got lots of clothes and lifestyle things and everything like that. They got Birks.
They do.
They got Birks now, so if you want to try a pair of Birks, go for it. However, what's today's question of the day?
So, the day after these sneakers drop, there is a very big sporting event happening.
What is it?
The Super Bowl.
Oh. I am not a football person, so please forgive me.
So, who's everybody rooting for? The 49ers or Taylor Swift's boyfriend, the Kansas City Chiefs? I did see a funny thing, and it said that...
Wait, so who are you?
Oh, I'm rooting for the 49ers because I want my dad to have a win. The 49ers haven't won since 1995. Yeah, I want that. But I saw a funny thing where it said, so basically the Super Bowl this year is red versus red, Taylor's version.
I mean, this is just Taylor's world. We're all just living in it.
I know, what a great time to be alive.
Sure. You've never sounded more like a weirdo ever. But it's cool. I talk about shoes for a living, so I can't really say anything. But anyway, sound off below and let us know what you think about the blue-gray Air Jordan 13 in the comment section. Again, thank you so much for being here. We really do appreciate you guys. We will catch y'all on the... Oh, wait a minute. I forgot about the insult. Can anybody guess what it is?
Fake Dream Cell.
Oh, actually, it's not fake Dream Cell, it is Dream Cell.
Oh, it is Dream Cell.
Yeah, they changed it's not like glossy anymore.
Oh, because that's what I was
half and
guessing
half.
it off of.
Yeah, it's half and half. Some people have been actually commenting. There's one person that likes to react to our channel, like to our videos and stuff. I don't remember his channel name. Let me look it up real quick. All right, so it's T-Moss Boss, go check him out. But he does reaction videos and he does them to our videos as well. All kinds of videos, but he does like sneakers. But in the video that he was watching was the Air Jordan 4 Bread Reimagined. And I pulled out the insole and on the bottom of it, it's a polyurethane insole, the white ones, and it says J11 on there for Jordan 11. He was like, wait a minute, that's a red. And I was like, look, I get where you're coming from, but.
They're all that way.
I know, that's the thing. Ever since the Pure Platinums, or Platinum Tint, I think is what it's called, the Air Jordan 11 Platinum Tint, that was one of the first remastered, new shape, higher patent cut and all that stuff. Ever since that release, they have used those polyurethane insoles for not just the 11s, but for lots of original style shoes with the Nike Air branding.
We had a whole convo, I don't know what video it was in, but where I had asked, being like, so which number Jordan through which number Jordan do you think they use the same last? Because how would they be able to use those same insoles across the board?
Most lasts are kind of like the same over, you know what I mean? Unless you start to get into the wide or the narrow stuff, they're not too different from each other. That's one of the funny things about insoles is that when you look at the bottom of them, this one is not a good example of it. This one literally says men's 9, but a lot of times, especially on those like white polyurethane ones, they'll have a size range. Like it'll be from like 8 or 8.5 to a 10. And that's the size range that those insoles fit into, which I know sounds crazy because wearing a 10 versus wearing an 8 is a huge difference, but not when you're talking about last shape. Like it's micro increments, like it's really weird. They just reuse those insoles, it's cheaper, the mold's already made. That's the thing, is that they have to pour the polyurethane, it's like liquidized, or I don't think that's a proper term. It's liquid polyurethane at first, they pour it into the mold, which they call poured PU, then it hardens and turns into the midsole and stuff. It's a little bit different than a regular foam insole where it's like a foam sheet and then they heat and cut it out. It's a little bit different than that. So they use those insoles in so many like Jordans that do feature them, just because it's easier for them and cheaper that they are already manufactured with the tooling molds and stuff. It's unfortunate that they engraved them with Jordan 11. That was a mistake, but you know, it is what it is. But anyways, thank you guys once again. We really do appreciate you guys. Sorry for rambling on at the end. All kinds of, you don't want to miss a second of a WearTesters video. You never know what you might hear. Something could be funny, something can be super informational. You just never know. Thank you guys once again for being here. We'll catch you guys on the next one. So until then, have a good one.